So today we're going to take a look at a tribe that got a lot of love in Eldraine, but I think a lot of people haven't caught on to yet, and that's Faeries. So there was a pre-existing blue-white Fliers deck that used cards like Winged Words and Empyrean Eagle to benefit off of playing a bunch of little flyers. So we've basically taken that blue-white Flyers base and we added in some good Faeries from Eldraine and added in ways to benefit off those tribal elements. The big tribal payoff we have is Icon of Ancestry. Icon of Ancestry is a lord. It gives all our creatures +1/+1, and also it gives us a way to use our mana to dig for more creatures when we run out of action. That's something that this blue-white Faeries deck has that a blue-white Flyers deck does not. Blue-white Flyers in general only has the one lord, Empyrean Eagle, but we have 8. We have 8 lords, and one of them is a card advantage engine, which is really great with Winged Words. And between Winged Words and Icon of Ancestry, we can really go kind of a long game, even if we get Wrath or something. We just have ways to kind of dig ourselves back into the game. For our fairies themselves, we've got 8 1-drops, which is great in the tribal deck. We've got 4 Fairy Guide Mothers, which is, a 1/1 flyer, but also it can get, we can use it to pump up one of our creatures, get in some additional damage. It does the flying it grants isn't really relevant in our deck because everything flies anyway. But it is, a +2/+1 we can kind of get for free on on a creature we want to be playing otherwise. And then Fairy Miscreant, which is, just a 1/1 flyer, but also another way of kind of eking out some card advantage in this deck. We also have Fairy Vandal, which takes advantage of all the ways we have to draw cards, things like Fairy Miscreant, things like Winged Words, things like Tome Raider. We have multiple ways here to draw cards, and when we do, our Fairy Vandal is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And a 1/2 flyer with Flash isn't the worst thing when you have Lords. I mean, you can flash this in turn 2, play an Empyrean Eagle, and that's a 2/3 flyer that you just got for 2 mana. That's kind of going to continue growing throughout the game, so that's not too bad. We also have Hypnotic Sprite. Hypnotic Sprite is a little awkward. A lot of times in our deck, we're just going to be playing it as its creature side, just a 2 mana, 2/1 flyer. That's not bad in an aggressive tribal deck. Just having a 2/1 flyer that benefits from all of our lords. This thing's going to get pretty big and nasty quick. It also has its adventure, which is a little awkward to get off because we don't have that many instant speed things going on here. We have Brazen Borrower, or we can leave up like an activation of Icon of Ancestry, or there's some things we can do at instant speed, Fairy Vandal, but in general, we're going to be tapping out a lot of the time because we just want to get damage on the board. So it's not the adventure. Don't worry too much about getting max value on the adventure. It's okay to just play this as a 2/1 flyer on turn 2. That's pretty powerful. And then we have Tome Raider. This one is a little iffy. I mean, it gives us card draw for our Fairy Vandal. It is a fairy, and it does, and it does replace itself, and that's always good in a tribal deck. In Elves, for example, you have Elvish Visionary, which enters the battlefield and draws a card. And Merfolk, you run things like Silvergill Adept, which enters the battlefield, draws a card. Those are just very good cards in tribal decks. A tribal body that doesn't actually cost you a card. The difference between those and ours is 3 mana. Which is, it's a little painful in a tribal deck where you want to be kind of flooding the board, so we're only running 3 of them. But it does have some additional upside in that it benefits our Fairy Vandal. And then we have our 2 Mythics of this deck, 2 copies of Brazen Borrower. This is by far the strongest fairy in Standard. I mean, if we could run more copies of this, we would, but because we're a budget deck, I didn't want to go above 2 Mythics. But, just having this very powerful Petty Theft ability stapled onto this creature, I mean, Petty Theft is honestly almost worth a card on its own. You really, I mean, it's borderline, but it's very, very good interaction to be able to just sort of time walk your opponent. If they play something big, you just bounce it back to their hand. It's very, very good. And then, it's a big fairy body. It's a 3/1 flash flyer. Going to benefit from all of our lords. Just, one lord makes it a 4/2 flyer. That's going to kill our opponent pretty quick. And then, of course, we have the 4 rares in Icon of Ancestry, and our last rare is Stolen by the Fae. And this is more of a kind of a one of fun of. This card, it can make a bunch of fairies, and if we have our lords out, that's going to mean a ton of bodies. All these 1/1s are going to be 2/2s or 3/3s or what have you. And it's not the most powerful card, but I think if we do get it to go off, it'll be pretty dang strong. But it is kind of mana intensive, which is not exactly where we want to be in an aggressive deck, but it's more just a fun thing to try out. So I just wanted to give it a shot. And lastly, we have Conclave Tribunal. This is our removal spell, just great in this deck. We just have so many low drop creatures that we can play this for a very low amount of mana almost every time, and it answers anything. It answers Fires of Invention. It answers the oven. It answers all the best things in Standard. Just having a way to answer anything is kind of invaluable, especially when it's such low mana in our deck. And so mana base wise, like usual, we're running rare lands, but just run as many as you've got. If you've got a few Hallowed Fountains, put them in here. If you got a few Fabled Passages, put them in here. But if you don't, just run the common tap lands, and the deck will be mostly the same. I would actually recommend if you don't have a lot of rare lands, maybe just running more basics in this deck. You really want to be doing stuff almost every turn. I think tap lands might hurt this deck more than the average, and maybe Mana Screw would be even less of a problem than having to deal with tap lands all the time. So, but like usual, just run as many as you got, and if you don't have any, then just run a bunch of tap lands, run the Guild Gates, run the Tranquil Coves and such, and you'll be it'll be able to at least test the deck out. And if you feel like it's worth it, you can invest in these. There's always a solid investment to go into lands, but not necessary. You can definitely play without these. On our sideboard, we've got Devout Decree to deal with, mono red and potentially the cat deck. We've got Disenchant to deal with Fires of Invention and the cat deck. We've got Glass Casket to deal with aggressive decks. We've got Ether Gust to deal with Fires of Invention and Gruul aggro and such. We've got Negate against Fires of Invention or Control. We've got Prison Realm against Planeswalker heavy decks. And we've got Mystical Dispute against any deck playing blue. And that pretty much sums it up. So just an aggressive deck. We're trying to benefit off the fact that we have 8 lords in this deck. Sort of trying to upgrade the blue-white Flyers deck a bit. And yeah, so 7 necessary rares between the Brazen Borrower and the Icon of Ancestry and the Stolen by the Fae. Like always, I'll have a section at the end of the video talking about potential upgrades to make to this deck if you want to spend a few more wild cards, or even if you just happen to have the upgrade rares I'm talking about. If you have a couple copies of whatever upgrade I talk about, you might want to throw those in, take some of the commons and uncommons out. And yeah, Faeries is one of my favorite tribes, and I'd love to see it do good, so let's get in there and give it a shot. Okay, playing against I Am a Cat, and I guess we'll keep this. This isn't the most exciting hand, but we've got 2-drop into Lord. This Hypnotic Sprite's going to be pretty big. We'll see if that ends up being... Okay, blue-green, so probably a ramp deck. Probably like a Simic ramp, Bant ramp, something like that. It could also be a blue-green flash, but most of the flash decks I've seen recently have been blue-red. I think that's probably just better than blue-green. So when I see blue-green, I think of ramp now instead of flash. Okay. I think I'll just instead of playing the Lord here, I'll attack, see what they do. Then I'll play Faerie Miscreant, plan on Faerie Vandaling at the end of their turn. Then we'll have a pretty big force facing them down once we play our Lord, or Icon of Ancestry here. Okay. It looks like they're probably blue-green flash. Like, I don't know what else they would be at this point. Just doing nothing on turn 4. If that's the case, probably don't want to just run out this Icon of Ancestry. I mean, I can't do 2 spells this turn anyway if it's going to get countered right. If they counter this Winged Words, I'm not doing anything else this turn, so I'll play Fable Passage, and I'll play Icon of Ancestry. If they want to Frilled Mystic this, they can. Seems like they're going to. Sure. We've still got a pretty big force facing them down, and they can't block any of our threats, so we'll go ahead and crack this. Go get an island. So it is blue-green flash. See if they drop a Nissa here. Looks like they're thinking about removing one of our threats. Okay, Nissa's fine. This means they're tapped out as far as removal goes. They might just be trying to race us. Yep, that is what they're doing. Ooh. Oh, almost have a... I think that's what we'll do, though. We'll play Empyrean Eagle. Play Winged Words, draw 2. kill Nissa. So how much do we hit him for here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we just attack them and ignore the Nissa. Is that crazy? That's kind of crazy. I think... Okay, we'll kill the Nissa. And hit them for 2. Yeah, I think just getting that Nissa off the board, because they would just have so much mana this turn if they did have a Crisis. I don't think we could kill them through it. You know, even if they completely tapped out for it. It'd be a Crisis for... Okay. Another Nissa's fine. The fact that they don't got anything else, I think we just win now. Sure. And take 9. Nope, not blocking. Ugh, they do... Okay, that's good. So what I'll do... So I can't Conclave Tribunal and also Icon of Ancestry for lethal. So I think I just have to Icon of Ancestry first. Ooh, see if they do have a... Ah, crap. And a gate, that's fine. So, what do we do here? We'll put them to where they're lethal next turn, I suppose. So, get in, attack, attack, and attack. Sure. And pass turn. Just hope they have nothing, I guess. We've got them dead if they have nothing. I mean, that's not super likely. They could have a gigantic Crisis here. I think this is the best we could do, though. Sure. Okay. Faerie Vandal. I guess we should have probably played the Faerie Vandal. I think we misplayed that. I think I should have played the Faerie Vandal on my own turn. Yeah, so we die here. Yeah, I should have played it when they were tapped out. I was... Yeah. Okay. Well, on to the next game. That was a tough one anyway. Double this is pretty hard. So I think we will go up Mystic Disputes to deal with their counter spells. Aether Gust is probably pretty good against them as well. And then we'll go down a... Conclave Tribunal is a little bit worse. We'll go down a couple of those. Go down a Tome Raider and go down a couple Fairy Guide Mothers and run it like that. There's still some argument I should have just ignored the Nissa on the turn I killed their Nissa, because we kind of saw how that went wrong, as they have another Nissa in hand, and we kind of put ourselves in a position where we could have killed them the previous turn. But instead we killed their Nissa, and it took an extra turn to kill them, which kind of cost us the game. So I don't know. The downside if we didn't kill that Nissa is they could do something like gigantic Hydra to kill one of our attackers so we don't have lethal anymore, or gigantic Crisis to gain enough light that they don't have lethal anymore. So I don't know. That was a hard choice. But okay, we'll keep this hand. I do think I should have played that Faerie Vandal during my own turn, though. That was a silly thing to do, to kind of cost myself even a chance at the game there. Because if they didn't have removal, we would have won with that line of play. Well, our opponent's mulliganing, which is good. Aether Gust should be good here. Wow, they went all the way down to 4, huh? Jeez Louise. Okay. Island, pass turn. Sure. Ramping up. Play Faerie Vandal. Play Island. Play Tome Raider. Bump up our Faerie Vandal. Attack for 2. Ooh, double Aether Gust. So I think we will play Fable Passage, crack this. Go get an island. And instead of running out our Icon of Ancestry here, we're just gonna leave up this double Ether Gust. And next turn we'll be able to run out Icon of Ancestry plus leave up an Ether Gust. Okay. No sir. That will go back on top of your deck. And that will go back on top of your deck. Ooh, Ether Gust. That's pretty good. Basically just like almost double time walked our opponent there. It'd be great if we could counter that with Hypnotic Sprite, but we cannot. So we're just gonna Icon of Ancestry on Faerie. We're just gonna put the aggro up here, run out our Hypnotic Sprite. Got our opponent on a pretty quick lock here. They've got 2 turns. We can start digging for cards with Icon of Ancestry. Wow, Growth Spiral, huh? I guess their wolf just isn't enough anymore, so... Okay, I'm gonna scoop it up. So yeah, Aether Gust was great there. Great, great, great. We're gonna do pretty much the exact same thing, just run it back. I mean, our opponent did mold 4, so they were up against it to begin with, but yeah, kind of double time walking them with Ether Gusts. That was brutal, for sure. So keep this. Okay, our opponent's mulliganing pretty hard again. Wonder if maybe they're mulliganing a bit too hard to look for some sideboard cards. This isn't the best hand that we kept. Hopefully our opponent's mulligan will help us out a bit. Sure. Okay. I think we're just gonna leave up our Mystic Dispute and also our Faerie Vandals. See what our opponent does. Sure. Run out Faerie Vandal. Oof. I didn't draw a land. Okay, we'll get him with Faerie Vandal. I think we'll just Miscreant here. Leave up a Mystical Dispute. Doing this so if we draw another Miscreant, we can hopefully draw into a land. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we'll just start getting in. We do get to hold up Mystic Dispute, which is something. Okay, Arena's kind of freaking out. Let's start running out Faerie Vandals. When we eventually draw our 3rd land and can Tome Raider, they're going to be pretty big at least. I'm going to Scry's 2. I think we'll just... Nah, we're not going to run out Faerie Vandal now. We do want to leave up this Mystic Dispute just in case they have something crazy, like a giant Crisis or whatever. We can get rid of that. Okay. Faerie Vandal. We don't really care if our opponent counters this. Okay. They're probably doing that more to, you know, manipulate their deck. Yeah, they just don't want to draw any more lands. Okay, great. Finally drew some card draw. I think we'll run out... I think we're just going to start pumping out Lords. Let's see if they have another counter spell. Not. Yeah, I'm just going to put our opponent to the test here. Oh, they got something. Wow. Sideboard Crushing Canopy. I didn't expect to see that. We're going to feel pretty silly if they have a Crisis here. Because we could have left that Mystic Dispute. Worst possible thing they could have had. That's rough. Okay. So we'll... I think we just keep going here. We're going to Empyrean Eagle. We're going to Empyrean Eagle. Pump up our creatures. No attacks, pass turn. I'm going to try to leave up this Mythics Dispute for the rest of the game. Hit any additional Crasises. Okay, maybe we'll Faerie Vandal. Winged Words. And our opponent has a counter here, it'll suck. Okay, they do not apparently. Oh, Brazen Borrower's great. That'll get that Krasis out of the way and let us counter it on the way back down. But for this turn, we're going to just pass again. We're building up a pretty substantial board here. And getting that Krasis out of the way is going to be really good. We're going to go ahead and crack this Fabled Passage while we can. If they can't do something... Okay, it just didn't give us the option to. Thank you, Arena. It looks like they might have another gigantic Krasis. Yes, they do. So they do get to draw off this no matter what we do, but we do get to get rid of the creature at least for a cool 1 mana. Okay. We'd love to just draw a removal spell for this Krasis. Okay, Miscreant. Draw a card. Pump up our creatures. Ooh, Icon of Ancestry. I think we still just Brazen Borrow this Krasis out of the way. They can cast it again next turn, but if that's all they're doing, then so be it. We're just going to put up a huge force here, get in for a ton of damage. The opponent just spends the turn Krasising, then they're dead. Next turn, if we draw a land, we can just insanely pump these Vandals. Kind of looks like they're just... Okay, there's Nissa. Nissa plus Krasis? That still doesn't really stop us at all.
The land fights for us.
That land doesn't give any additional protection because all of our creatures are Fliers. I feel pretty good about this position. I mean, if they're just gonna play a gigantic Krasis here, then I think we just went on the spot. The worst thing would be something like Mass Manipulation. Okay, just a big old Krasis, and I believe that's game for us. So we're just gonna, yeah. Oh, okay. We were gonna be able to Icon of Ancestry, pump our board +1/+1, and then Winged Words, and also pump our Faeries, these 2 Faeries +1/+1. So if our opponent blocked there, this would be 6, 10. This would still be 2. So 6, 10, 12, 18. So we would hit them for 18 here, even with their creature blocking one of our big Faeries. So 18 damage to the face. Yeah, you're not going to gain life with Hydroid Krasis to get around that. But wow, so our little Faerie tribal deck here, only 5 rares, 2 mythics, just took down one of the best decks in Standard, Simic ramp. You know, even though they hit the Simic decks, they've hit Oko, they've hit Veil of Summer, they hit all these cards. It's just this, this is just a kind of a crazy card. Mana doubling that's not symmetrical is not something they used to do, and especially not on something that's otherwise just extremely powerful as well. Making a 5 mana planeswalker that makes 3/3s with vigilance and haste as an uptick is pretty good anyway. So she's still been like this dominating force in Standard, and Krasis has also been really good. But we just beat them. We just kind of took them down. We were able to kind of outrace them while they kind of durdled around and played big Krasis to draw a bunch of cards. We just put so many threats out on the board and got them so big that they just couldn't gain enough life. So yeah, sweet. I really love this deck. Faeries are one of my favorite tribes, and it's fun to be able to play them in Standard. Sweet. Alright, budget Faeries against Schnapkosta. And play first. Yeah. Okay. I like this hand. We've got interaction. We've got... Maybe we'll just go ahead and run out this Faerie Guide Mother turn 1. Because we have this Winged Words, we can either run out this Hypnotic Sprite next turn or use the Winged Words, depending on what our opponent does here. Well then. Huh. I guess we just attack. If they want to make the trade, they can. They do not. Okay. Run out the Hypnotic Sprite. Okay, it looks like our opponent... I'm gonna guess they're not playing Faeries, because I think we're probably the only people on the planet playing Faeries, but... here, we'll attack. See if they want to make this trade. They do not. I'm guessing they're just playing more the traditional blue-white flyer deck. Sure. I don't have a ton going on. Okay. I think I am going to still offer the trade here. So, okay, wow, they're just taking it. So I'll go ahead and get a land out of my deck. Make my draw a tiny fraction of a percent better. Get an island. Draw 2. Probably should have done that pre-combat, I suppose. I'll just play it, I guess. We're hoping to just draw a Lord here and just smash him in the face for an absolute boatload. See what they do. Hushbringer, huh? That's not terrible against us. Okay, there's the Lord. That's what we wanted to see. I guess we just go... Yeah, we just slam the Lord here. On Faerie. And get in with the crew. I mean, they can double block, but we're not too upset about that. We may have a pump spell here. They do. Okay, so they trade, lose 1. Yeah, they're just doing the typical sort of blue-white Fliers deal. Yeah. It's the Battle of the Winged Words. I think that's probably one of the best cards in both of our decks. Wow. Our opponent, I think, has drawn all of theirs. Yes, they have. All 4 copies. Okay, Hypnotic Sprite's actually pretty interesting. I think I'll attack with both. Again, they can double block if they feel like it. They do not. And I'm just gonna go ahead and crack this. I'm just gonna leave up 3 mana to search the top cards of our deck with Icon of Ancestry, and also leave up this Hypnotic Sprite. Yes, we will counter that. I'm gonna cut off the card draw if we can. Oh, does our opponent have one as well? Oh no, okay. Sure, Faerie Miscreant. Sure, okay. Oh, gets in for 2. And we will look at the top of our deck, get a Faerie Vandal. So what we're going to do here is play Hypnotic Sprite, play Faerie Vandal, and instead of holding up the mana to do Icon of Ancestry by tapping all of our creatures, I think we're just going to tap this Hypnotic Sprite and get rid of the Hushbringer. This is potentially dangerous because they could have the Angel that lets you tap 4 Fliers, but we're putting them to the test here. I mean, they've got to start blocking eventually. And we do have a little more card draw in the form of Icon of Ancestry than they do. Okay. That's good because it hopefully means they won't be able to play out the big Angel. Which is usually kind of the payoff for this sort of deck. Sure. Another Hushbringer. Okay, we will look at the top cards of our deck. I guess we take Guide Mother. And we will... We're gonna pump up the Faerie Vandal. Get in with both. Sure, kill both of these. Play Guide Mother. Play Fable Passage. Go ahead and sack it. Get an island out of our deck, and pass a turn. I mean, this repeatable card advantage in the form of Icon of Ancestry, that's something they don't have, because they're not tribal. They're just blue-white Fliers. And that's really allowed us to pull ahead in this game, so we're kind of seeing the competitive advantage of Faeries as compared to just regular blue-white Fliers. Okay. I'm going to do this again, try to get as many lands out of our deck as possible. Get another island. Look at the top 3. We should have... yeah. these Hushbringers are not actually kind of causing a problem, so we'll Fairy Vandal. Get in with both. Sure. Yep, opponent kills it. And we'll pass turn. They could potentially have a Hypnotic Sprite here, which would... Okay, just a Fairy Miscreant, sure. Fairy Vandal. There's another Fairy Vandal. We'll do this again. There's a Tome Raider. Well, attack with both. See what they do. Okay, just gonna chump. Okay, yeah, we will definitely kill this Hushbringer. That lets us draw with our Tome Raider, which also procs our Fairy Vandal, and I think we're gonna just flash in Fairy Vandal and then Empyrean Eagle next turn. Okay, our opponent scoops it up. Okay, so we kind of get to see what this deck was based on and see how our tribal upgrade or version of the deck can perform differently. And it looked pretty good there. We just sort of outvalued them because of our tribal payoff and Icon of Ancestry. Oh, and our opponent just scoops it up. I would have liked to see the rest of that match, but well, at least we won. They seemed pretty unconvinced that they could keep up with what we were doing with their kind of base version of the deck. I think adding this tribal sub theme really kind of put us over there. It's like, we're just going to kind of do what they're doing, but also have so much raw card advantage and make our creatures bigger, because we have 8 lords and they only have 4. So yeah, I think we just sort of demonstrated how this kind of change the deck can be positive in a lot of ways, and apparently our opponent thought it was not a match they could win and just scoop the whole thing after they lost game 1. But cool. Sweet. Okay, playing some budget Fairies against Shiny Z. We will play first. Yeah, we'll keep this. Taplands make it a little awkward, but because we would like to go turn 1 Fairy Guide Mother, turn 2 Winged Words, we can't do that because of our Tapland. But hey, c'est la vie. We'll get a Plains. Maybe we'll draw a good 2-drop to play instead of Fairy Guide Mother next turn. We'll see. And no. So we'll just play out this Fairy Guide Mother. Play Island, pass turn. We'll see what we draw. We might just play this Winged Words, try to make sure we hit our lands. Okay, see, since we already hit our lands, I think we just play Empyrean Eagle. Attack. Kind of have an aggressive start here. Give a big pump with Fairy Guide Mother. Okay, it looks like our opponent might be struggling on lands a bit, which is good for us. Yeah, another Lord is good. Yeah, I guess we just keep dropping Lords. Maybe we just... This is a little weird because it only pumps one of our creatures, but I do think we get in for 5 here. Pass a turn. And if they play out a Nissa here or something, we do have the Conclave Tribunal to answer it. Oh, very nice, okay. A little combo there to make their Incubation Druid tap for a lot. Okay, there's Nissa. We can answer that. Not the worst thing. They do still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. This is kind of a crazy card. I think Nissa might be borderline a mistake. Wow. Oh, huh. This is an interesting deck, so I think... Let's see. We only have 1 white mana, so we can't pump and play the Fairy Guide Mother. So I think what we do... We gotta get rid of the Nissa, so we're gonna play the Conclave Tribunal. We still want to get in for damage. I think what we do is... Yeah, play the Fairy Guide Mother... Let's see, this will get them down to 8. So yeah, I think we just set ourselves up to win next turn. So we'll play Conclave Tribunal. Tap, 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 tap. Get rid of the Nissa. And I mean, this is lethal in the air next turn, so unless they do something crazy here, we should be able to win. Our double lords have definitely paid off. I mean, green does have ways to deal with flyers. There could be something they play with reach, or just straight up a flyer, you know, something like Collision Colossus if they're... Okay, there's another Nissa. Does not do it by itself. Let's see. Possible they have some sort of combo with Moe? Okay. Nope, they just weren't able to kill us, and we get to win. So we just sort of out-tempoed them a bit. Our opponent had a pretty crazy hand too, mostly because Nissa's a crazy card, but we will just kill them. Alright, so we took down Mono Green Ramp to game 1. So this is pretty much Nissa dot deck. It makes me want to bring in something like Negate, you know, just because that's by far the card they're built around. But we could just have a hand where they, you know, they just play out a bunch of creatures and beat us down. So probably just bring in the Ether Gusts, because that deals with both, and probably not bring in the Negates. Yeah, okay. So bring in the Ether Gusts. I guess Glass Casket is arguable. Gets, I don't know. I won't be able to get their Druids. So Prison Realm's also up for contention. I think I'll bring in one Prison Realm, and we'll go down Conclave Tribunal, and maybe a Tome Raider or like that. Yeah, yuck. We cannot keep this hand. Throw it back. Okay. Another clunky hand because of all the taplands, but... I guess we go down a Faerie Guidemother. Potentially this Faerie Miscreant give us some card draw. Oh, we're just we're just on the mono lord plan. We do get to go turn 2 Miscreant and a turn 3 lord, turn 4 lord, turn 5 lord. Maybe that's enough. Opponent's gonna be off to the races. Okay, we'll get an island. Yeah, I think we just Faerie Miscreant. Play Fable Passage. And we're just gonna Lord. Maybe we can just beat our opponent in the race. Our opponent can do their little combo if they've got it to, okay. Are they missing on lands again? Wow, okay. We've gotten lucky that both games our opponent hasn't had a third land, so... They still have a turn 4 Nissa, but it cuts them off a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna get an island. Alright. Plains, and we'll just, Empyrean Eagle. Get for 2. Yeah, next turn we'll just, Icon of Ancestry, probably plus the Faerie Guidemother, just run it out. I don't know if we worry too much about getting the pump spell out of it, just because all these lords are going to make this thing gigantic, so we probably just want it on the board as soon as we can. Our best draw will probably just be Faerie Miscreant, give us another body on the board, and also give us some card draw. That's a problem. Okay, well we can actually just get bigger than this thing eventually, so I think we Icon of Ancestry on Faerie. Play Faerie Guidemother. I mean, next turn we can play Icon of Ancestry, and then we'll just have 4/4s. I mean, if they want to trade their Serpent for one of our 1-drops, that's fine. Still, the scariest thing they could draw here is this. Ooh, okay. That does make things a little harder. Stonecoil Serpent is good against us, that's for sure. Opponent's still missing on their 3rd land drop. Brazen Borrower's great. Okay. What we're gonna do here is Icon of Ancestry on Faerie. Bounce the Stonecoil Serpent. Get in for 6. Yeah, we got our opponent not in great shape here. They can replay the Stonecoil Serpent, which is fine. But if that's all they do this turn, then we're okay with that. Okay. Got their combo put together. Could just play a huge, gigantic Stonecoil Serpent. Oh, okay. Voracious Hydra. Kill one of our Fliers. Interesting. why they didn't go all out to make it as big as possible. Faerie Vandal, yeah, another good draw. Yeah, we'll just get him for 3. We can flash in both of our fairies here. Best thing to draw would be a removal spell for the Stonecoil Serpent, which I'm sure will come down, because I think that pretty much just wins us the game on the spot. Ooh, okay.
With the arcbow at my side, I can't lose a fight.
Harder. Wow, okay. Huh. They're not going to do a fight spell, they're just going to...
Time.
I guess this does... I get what they're going to do here. Now they'll get to make a bunch of mana and play a Stonecoil Serpent, which is good too, but... Getting our Flyer off the board would have also been good. Oh. Yeah, can't do anything about that. Yep. Yep, we just let it go. Okay, okay. Not good. Yep. Opponent gets it for 4, sure. Flash Brazen Borrower. Flash Faerie Vandal. Oh, Prison Realm. Gosh. Oof. We're so close to the win, but I think what we do here is Prison Realm, eat the Stonecoil Serpent, pass to the bottom. Do we go to the face or do we kill the Vivian? If they don't have another removal spell or another creature with reach, going to the face lets us win even through the Vivian fighting one of our creatures. I think we gotta kill the Vivian. Okay, knock them down to 6. But unfortunately, if they have another removal spell or another reach blocker, this isn't the best place to be. Yeah, another reach blocker. Yikes. I guess this would have made it so we couldn't win anyway, right? Because they would have fought one of our creatures and been able to block the other one, so... Not the end of the world. We need to draw something good here. That is not something good. Look for a Fairy on the top. Well, there's Faerie Vandal. I guess we get in with both. He can potentially eat our Faerie Vandal or trade with our Brazen Borrower, but I think getting the... What? Okay, yeah. I thought he skipped through his block. Okay, so... Oh, he did. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's... Whoops. He accidentally skipped through his block there, I think. I don't want to scoop, like, if it was... Yeah, we're still gonna win. If it was a certainty that he would win if he hadn't punted like that, I would just scoop. But the fact is that we were in a... I mean, we could block with our Faerie Vandal there to survive, and yeah, I don't think we were gonna be dead. So yeah, opponent made a little punt there, but I think we were in a position to maybe win that game, and then you know, I think we would have been in good shape game 3. So yeah, taking down mono green ramp, scary Nisses, scary Ceratopses, but we beat them. Sweet. Okay, playing against Kinsey, and I'll play first. I don't think we can keep this. I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, I think this is better. Go down a island and run it like this. Yeah, I think that other hand, it was just, if we drew any lands, we would basically lose. This hand is a little better. We are going to probably try to get some value out of this Hypnotic Sprite, just because we don't have a lot of explosive things going on, although it does depend on what exactly we draw off the top here. Stolen by the Fae will be good eventually. Alright, there's Knight. And... Yep, pass turn. We'll flash in here. I don't think there's anything that'll punish this that isn't punished anyway. by doing it at the end of the turn. They have some sort of disfigure or whatever. Okay, you're expendable. That's fine. We will get rid of a plains. We're a more blue heavy deck than a white heavy deck, so. Okay. I think we pass the turn. I guess we should have attacked because we're not going to be able to block either of these anyway. Aw. I guess we do it. Okay, we'll counter this duress. It's a little unfortunate. We wanted to counter something more substantial than that, but I don't think losing one of our two really good spells here is worth holding on to that. Okay. Opponent might have a Order of Midnight. Huh. Or not. I think we... Since they have main deck... Okay, we're just gonna Tomb Raider, try to keep hitting our land drops, but I almost wonder if we should... Since they seem to be running main deck Duresses, sorry, I couldn't think of the word. So they seem to be running main deck Duresses. I almost wonder if we should run out the Stolen by the Fae or the Icon of Ancestry just to get them out of our hands and onto the battlefield. Okay, Registrar. That's better for us. We're gonna be able to bounce that with Stolen by the Fae if we top deck a land, hopefully. Which would be very, very good. We did not. Okay. In that case, I think we just go... I think we play Hypnotic Sprite, play Fairy Guide Mother on our Fairy Vandal, and get in for 4. Now we can chump the Rotting Registrar with Tomb Raider, and hopefully draw a land next turn. Our other option there was to play the Icon of Ancestry plus just run Fairy Guide Mother out as a creature, which was tempting, but I think maybe this is a little better because we're going to have to chump with a Tomb Raider anyway. We don't want to take 7 to the face. Yeah, block here. I think it's better just to get some meat on the board rather than... Okay. Icon of Ancestry will drop. We just really want to draw a land here. If we draw a land, I think we probably just win this easily. If we don't, then we probably don't win. Come on. Land, 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 land. Wow. Well, we'll get in. Plan on... Yeah, this, if we could have bounced this Rotting Registrar, we've had a bunch of turns here to draw a land and we just haven't done it. I think we're just, I think we probably should have by now. Yep, okay, so we're gonna run out this Fairy Vandal. I'm going to eat the rat and chump the Registrar. Looks like they're just going to pump and get in some extra damage, which is fine. Start getting counters on their Knight of the Even Legion. This land is still the best thing we can draw by far. Pretty much wins us the game on the spot if we draw a land. Alright, finally got there. We will play Stolen by the Fae for 3. Bounce the Registrar. Get in with the crew. And we got him dead next turn. Castle's not gonna work for you. I mean, even with a... Sure. Still dead. Okay, so we won this one. We were able to just sort of out-aggro this mono-black aggro deck. Just chumped the Registrars with our Faeries and did a little more damage than they could deal with. So mono-black, huh? We do have some good sideboard cards for that. Devout Decree's good. Do we want Glass Casket? I guess we probably do. Thing is, a lot of their creatures are kind of 2-for-1s. You know, like the rats and the Yarok Fin Lurkers, and we really don't want a Glass Casket cards like that. I almost wonder if we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't bring in too much removal. We should be more focused on doing exactly what we did last game, just sort of do our own thing and do it better than them. Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring in the Devout Decrees just because they're pretty good, but I think I'm gonna hold off on the Glass Casket. It might be a mistake, but I do it on the idea that, yeah, we want it for cards like Regisar or Knight of the Even Legion, but we really don't want it against cards like, you know, Yarok's Finlurker and Bugler or Burglar Rat. So, in that vein, we'll go down one Conclave Tribunal and go down a Fairy Guide Mother and run it like that. Okay, game 2 against Kinsey, and we absolutely cannot keep that hand. Oof. I'll keep this. Go down. I guess we'll go down the Conclave Tribunal. This is not great because we have this tap land, but hopefully we'll be all right. We do have an answer to that, which is good. Oops. So we can get rid of that knight pretty easily here with this Devout Decree. Expecting a Yarok's Finlurker, yeah. Yeah, we'll go ahead and fetch out the plains. I think we're gonna get rid of this. Maybe this Faerie Miscreant. Just not looking super good here. It's gonna feel bad if we draw another Faerie Miscreant off the top, but I think that's for the best. Okay, Tribunal's not bad. We will just do this now. Hit Knight of the Even Legion. Scry 1. Looking for a land. Not Hypnotic Sprite. Hopefully we can get a land off the top here. Even if they do something like Regisar, then we can do, you know, land, Eagle, turn 4, Conclave Tribunal to Regisar. Okay, Burglar Rats. I guess we just give up on one of our lords, Icon of Ancestry. Oy. Well, this isn't the worst. Because we have Fairy Vandal here, we can still do the turn 4 Conclave Tribunal plan, which should be good. Okay. Try to eat the rat. We'll see if they've got a Murderous Rider. If spending a Murderous Rider on a Fairy Vandal instead of one of our lords, that's okay. We do want some card draw eventually to help take us out of all these discard spells. Okay. Block the Burglar Rat. Got a Demon Legion. Sure. That's bad. At least we get to play our Lord next turn, I guess, but potentially, yeah, we're just gonna go out and play Empyrean Eagle. We're being pressured by this discard quite a bit. We are stonewalling this Yarok's Finlurker, which is good. Okay, so they're gonna order Midnight back the rat. Sure. Discard Fairy Vandal. The good thing is, once we get rid of this knight, they really have no threats that we need to worry about. So we will, I guess we just do it like this. We'll sacrifice, go get an island. I guess we just hit the knight with our mana. And do we just start getting in? No, I think we hold back. I think we want to wait till we have a little more presence before we start taking the aggressive role. Because it's not like they can really get in with either of these creatures. That makes these kind of worthless sitting out here. The downside of this is if they have a removal spell, then we just, you know, give it... Okay, they're just spending their turn drawing. We would like to do the same, though. We would like to, Okay, Icon of Ancestry is good, actually. Play it on Faerie. It doesn't pump our bird. It's a little awkward, but this is card draw. We can spend 3 to look at the top 3 cards of our deck, and we're something like 70% to see at least one Faerie every time we do that, with the number of Faeries we're running. Okay, there's Regisar. That's going to be an issue. Gonna need removal for that pretty quickly. Okay, we're gonna just do this now. Yep, there's a Faerie. Yeah, we're just gonna play this tapped and pass turn. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to just take 7 to the face with this Rotting Regisar. We're just gonna have to hope we draw a removal spell for it. We can't really deal with it otherwise. Okay, we'll eat the rat. Ah, very nice. Very nice. Maybe I should have expected that. I can't have ancestry. Come on now. Tome Raider. Slipping away, so we're gonna have to just play this out as a blocker. But, yeah, we're not in the best spot here. In fact, we might just be dead. There might be nothing we can draw at this point. Our opponent may have just top-decked removal. He's eyeballing our Hypnotic Sprite. It did indeed. Okay, so we're just actually dead. Okay, so I do feel good about my decision not to bring in more explicit, even though we did kind of lose to a Regisar there, you know, they just have so many creatures that we don't really want to spend removal on. You know, Yarrick's Fenlorders and Burglar Rats, and I think we were like discarding our hand to hold that removal. We'd be in trouble. So I think we do want to go back up this Conclave Tribunal, though. You know what, we'll go down 2 Conclave Tribunals, bring in a Glass Casket, and just run it like that. I do think having maybe one more Glass Casket as opposed to a Conclave Tribunal, because of most of our the threats we want to hit are Glass Casketable, maybe that makes sense. Yeah, we will keep this. Little awkward with our tap land here, but won't be too long before we're kind of off to the races. Let's see if they have another Knight turn 1. I think they've had turn 1 Knight every turn, or every game, which, okay, they don't have it this time, which is good for us. We'll just run out this Faerie Miscreant. Next turn we're going to be able to 3-drop into, you know, potentially, if we draw a land, another 3-drop plus Conclave Tribunal, so... Okay, there's your Fenlurker. I think we just drop one of the Conclave Tribunals here. Ooh, another Lord's good. I think we're just gonna be aggressive this game, I think. So Empyrean Eagle, get in. We're just gonna drop 2 Lords in a row, and then just try to beat our opponent down. Okay. Well, they 2-for-1 themselves, so we're not too broken up about that. We will, yeah, just Empyrean Eagle here. You know, maybe I should have just held on to that island to discard to a Yarrick's Fenlurker and or Burglar Rat. That's probably what I should have done, actually. Let's see if we get punished for it. Okay, no, I'm just gonna kill our dude, sure. Oh my gosh, vicious rumors. I'll discard this Conclave Tribunal. Milling that landscape. Ooh, this is actually pretty good. I think we Winged Words first, because we're more likely to hit a land this way. Okay, good. And then we'll Tome Raider. Get in for 1. So they have had answers to both of our lords, which kind of sucks, but we're not doing too bad. Sure, there's a Regisar. Got an answer to that. Ooh, Winged Words first is really good. So, Winged Words, draw 2. Yeah, we can even leave up this Hypnotic Sprite. So I think what we do, I guess we can't, because we're going to Glass Casket this turn. So what we'll do is Glass Casket the Regisar, Guide Mother, our Tome Raider, 4. Fast turn. Now we can start leaving up this Hypnotic Sprite, though. Crap. Well, we would have liked to hit that with our Hypnotic Sprite, but I guess what we do here is Guide Mother again, hit our Tome Raider, get him for 4. And we have him on a 2-turn clock like this. We'll leave up our Hypnotic Sprite. So we're going to kill them faster than they can kill us. They can hit us for 14 over the next 2 turns, but we're going to just kill them over the same amount of time. So hopefully we can counter anything worthwhile they plan on playing here. Counter that, stop the life gain. And it's looking pretty good. There is some temptation just to block the Running Registrar with our 1/1, but I think we're going to try to... that's annoying. That is annoying. I think we still win, even in spite of that, because that's going to be the only card in their hand. So I think what we do... Oh, Devout Decree is awesome. Okay, so Devout Decree... Yeah, we can do everything. So we'll Devout Decree the Registrar. Put the land to the bottom. Hypnotic Sprite. Guide Mother. And that should be game, because... You know, actually... I think I actually did that wrong. I think I should have Devout Decreed the Knight. Because now they have an unknown card in their hand, where we could have forced them to discard that otherwise. And the only thing they would have would be, Murderous Rider. I mean, I don't think there's anything... Okay. We're good. We're good. I didn't think there was anything they could have that would make us lose that game, but I think I did do that a little wrong. So, yeah, Faerie Tribal took down Mono Black. Sweet. Alright, playing Budget Fairies, we'll play first, and playing against Damien VC31. We'll definitely keep this hand. Faerie Vandal into Winged Words is always nice. It would be really great to draw a Faerie 1-drop here, so we could do something like Faerie Vandal into Faerie Vandal 1-drop into Winged Words, Winged Words. That'd be really good. We did not. Okay. Let's see what our opponent... So green-black, our opponent's probably playing the Sacrifice deck, the Jund Sacrifice deck, or something in that vein. Something with a cat and an oven in it, I'm guessing. Okay, so green-black adventures, so not quite what I was thinking. This is gonna be... Yeah, like doubling up a Murderous Rider is gonna be pretty devastating against us, I think. Okay, I think I just be mana intensive here. Draw a card. Attack with Faerie Vandal. Next turn we can Faerie Vandal plus Winged Words. Pump both Faerie Vandals. Let's see what they do. If they just play Beast here, that's not the worst. Take the 1 damage. Okay, looks like they are leaving up removal. And in that case, I think Icon Ancestry isn't what we want to be doing. I think we will just Faerie Vandal. Play Hollowed Fountain untapped, draw 2 cards. So if they're just gonna kill our Faerie Vandal with the Murderous Rider here, it's okay. Grow both of our Faerie Vandals. Get in for 4. Probably gonna lose this Faerie Vandal, I imagine. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Grew our board. Okay, just playing out the Murderous Rider. Training us for 1, sure. Ooh, Conclave Tribunal is gonna be good later, but I think for now we will draw 2 with Winged Words. Oof. Not really what we wanted to see. Jeez. Okay, I guess we Tranquil Cove. And I guess we do the pump on our Faerie Vandal. Get in for 6. Pass the turn. We can double Icon of Ancestry this next turn. Put 4 damage on the board. It's not quite lethal, unfortunately, but that's an option we have in our back pocket at least. Probably more likely to do something like Tome Raider plus Icon of Ancestry. This life gain's not nothing. You know, these life linkers. Okay. Okay. Gaining a good amount of life. Ooh, Empyrean Eagle is really good. I think we... Empyrean Eagle. Draw 2. We want to draw an untapped white source here. Yes. Perfect. Faerie Guide Mother. And get in with all this. And we got lethal here. If our opponent's just going to play out some creatures. Yep, that's all they get. Great, so we just sort of out-aggroed them through all their life gain, through all their removal. We were just able to put up this huge board. So let's see. Black-Green Adventures. This is a pretty meta deck. I don't think Devout Decree is kind of in this weird spot where Ether Gust and Devout Decree are both situationally good, but in a vacuum, not really. I guess Glass Casket's probably pretty good. And do we want to bring in Prison Realm? I don't think so. I wonder if Negate is good just because all their creatures are going to be spells first for the most part. Yeah, I think we just bring in the Glass Caskets. We'll go down a Tome Raider and a Faerie Guide Mother and just run it like that. Our opponent didn't actually see the Icon of Ancestry either, which is good, because they might have brought in some like coincidental artifact removal spells, things like Thrashing Brontodon, where it's not actually like taking out a slot like a real sort of artifact removal spell. They can just sort of run it for free. So it's good we didn't show them that. Jeez Louise. Well, I guess we run it. Well, this is the all removal hand. Run out of island. I just want to be able to kill their primarily their card draw, like their innkeepers. That's the most dangerous card. Okay, Lucky Clover, sure. I think we will just run out this Hypnotic Sprite. This turns our Conclave Tribunal on for next turn, so we can get rid of that Lucky Clover, which we will absolutely do. Pretty much over anything they have except an Innkeeper. If they have an Innkeeper, we'll probably just eat that with a Glass Casket. Yeah, there it is. That's probably what we're going to kill instead. Because frankly, it's even worse than a Lucky Clover. Hopefully they don't have to land in another 1-drop. Okay. They do have a land another 1-drop, but at least they don't get to draw off that one, so... Okay. You know what, that's actually... never mind, I'm just gonna Tranquil Cove, gain a life, Glass Casket, eat up the Innkeeper, and attack with my Hypnotic Sprite. Okay. Yeah, we weren't able to answer this Lucky Clover. I still think that was the right move to get rid of the Innkeeper instead of the Lucky Clover, but we're seeing the downside of not being able to answer that fast enough. Okay. Yeah, I think what we'll do is Faerie Guide Mother, or Hypnotic Sprite. Get in for 4. Glass Casket, the Lovestruck Beast. Basically, we're trying not to put 2 creatures on the board, so if they have a Murderous Strider, it has to sort of kill itself. Because they're forced to double it up here, and the copy is going to target our Hypnotic Sprite first. Sure. Okay, that's a pretty good draw. I think we Faerie Miscreants. We are opening ourselves up to a Murderous Rider now, but I I think this is right. We can't really take a hit from the Beanstalk Giant. So I don't think we can go after the Beanstalk Giant with the Conclave Tribunal right. I don't think we can go after the Lucky Clover right now. So where this goes wrong is that they have a Murderous Rider and they just go like pow pow pow, kill 2 of our creatures. Well, that would be pretty bad. Okay. Not Murderous Rider. Okay. Spin Swordmaster's not the worst. Just drain us for 3. That sucks, but it's not the worst. Okay. Play Empyrean Eagle. And I guess we get in with for 5 here. We're gonna put our opponent on like a 3-turn clock. That's pretty much the fastest we can go. And I still don't think we. I mean, okay, nice. Our opponent must have just top decked a land there. There was some temptation to go after one of the Lucky Clovers with our removal spell, because if they top deck Murder Strider and just like wrath our board with it, that's pretty bad. Although that does, I mean, that would be 6 damage they take to the face as well, so it's not like the worst thing in the world. But I think it was better to hold on to it for some sort of threat that could actually we would need to deal with, like a giant or something like that could actually kill us before we kill them. But yeah, we just took it down against Green Black Adventures, another pretty tiered deck in the format, and we were just able to. I mean, we just have a lot of. I mean, 8 Lords is pretty good, especially in Standard. Having 8 Lords and just all your creatures having built-in evasion. That's just. I mean, that's a lot of damage coming across pretty quick. So yeah, we just sort of put up more than they could deal with, even through all their life gain, and yeah, took down Green Black Adventures. Sweet. Alright, so the deck did pretty sweet all in all. We really benefited from the fact that we could have some card advantage from our Icon of Ancestry. And just having 8 Lords is pretty powerful when you're just putting a bunch of low drops out on the board. We didn't really get to go off with Stolen by the Fae ever, which is kind of sad. I wanted to see that happen. But all in all, the deck is very fun. I think it's, if you found it interesting, I'd say it's worth a try. I would say probably with some upgrades, this deck could actually be pretty dang powerful. You know, if you run in a few more Brazen Borrowers and a few more other cards we're about to talk about in our upgrade section, I think this deck could actually be pretty good. It's just some of these cards are a little clunky. You know, Hypnotic Sprite, Tome Raider. I think there's just better things we could be running, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But I mean, it was fun. It felt like Faeries, playing a bunch of little evasive creatures that sort of get us a bunch of card advantage, interact with our opponent, and eventually we just whittle them down with our little Faeries. That felt like, you know, good old Faeries to me, and I love Faeries, so I had a good time. So we'll move on and talk about potential upgrades to the deck now. So a big one is Fae of Wishes. Fae of Wishes is seeing a lot of play already. Just being able to tutor from your sideboard to get silver bullets is very powerful. And in our deck, it's a 1/4 flyer Faerie. So once we start putting the Lords out, you know, it's just going to get so big. It's going to become a 2/5, a 3/6. You know, it's going to be so hard to actually kill, or it's going to be a gigantic blocker that's going to be impossible to get through. So I think Fae of Wishes would probably be good, at least a couple of copies in the deck, to try to take advantage of, you know, the fact when we sometimes flood out late game. This gives us something to do with our mana, and also it just has a really good body for our deck. A really obvious one is more copies of Brazen Borrower. Like, just absolutely run 4 of these if you're doing Fairy Tribal. It's almost assuredly the best card in our deck. It's just so powerful to be able to use its 2-mana removal ability and also get so much value out of its creature half. And also, it's a removal spell we can find off of our Icon of Ancestry, which is a huge deal. Because, you know, sort of when we were in the late game and we were digging a lot of times, just like saying, okay, let's try to use some of our extra mana to dig. What we really wanted to dig for was a removal spell, but you know, we're very unlikely to hit our only 2 copies of Brazen Borrower, so I would absolutely run 4 of these. Absolutely worth it, and it's a great card anyway, so it's not too painful to spend your wild cards here. Hushbringer would be an interesting option. It's kind of a non-bow with a lot of our deck. You know, Fairy Miscreants have Enter the Battlefield abilities, Tome Raiders have Enter the Battlefield abilities, so you might need to kind of refactor the deck a bit to take advantage of Hushbringer, but if you do kind of take the Enter the Battlefield abilities out of your deck, I think Hushbringer is actually pretty powerful. There's of course a lot of decks in Standard that take advantage of Enter the Battlefield abilities, like the Cat deck, for example. Imagine, you know, they can't do their whole cat sack loop because the enter the battlefield ability doesn't do anything when you have a Hushbringer out. That's pretty powerful, and the fact that this has lifelink is pretty important too, because once we start playing our lords, pumping this thing up to a 2/3, a 3/4, that's going to be pretty hard for our opponent to race if we're hitting them for 3 and gaining 3 life every turn. So this is one you could try, but I wouldn't say just slot it in if you have it. I think you would have to kind of rebuild the deck to an extent to really take advantage of this. Maybe it's worth just putting in the sideboard if you have some copies to bring in against decks that care about end of the battlefield abilities more than we do. That might be interesting, just as sideboard tech, but I also think you could rebuild the deck to put this in the main deck as well. Another thing you could try, and this one isn't even a rare, it's actually an uncommon, is Rally of Wings. And this could sort of be used as a big finisher or a kind of a surprise attack. When our opponent kind of swings in with all their stuff, we could activate this, untap all our creatures, make them big, and kill all their creatures in response. A lot of times the blue-white flyer decks in general will run this. I didn't run it in this deck because, one, I wanted to minimize the number of non-fairies we had in our deck. We already have Empyrean Eagle, Winged Words, and Conclave Tribunal, and I guess Stolen by the Face, so our Icon of Ancestry is only like 70% to hit. So by adding even more non-creatures, I was kind of pushing it. I wanted to really make sure most times we hit with this Icon of Ancestry. But potentially you could take out like a Stolen by the Fae. You could take out maybe a Winged Words or a Conclave Tribunal, and you could try running some Rally of the Wings. And this might be worth it. Just going really wide and then swinging in with your creatures, and it's a way to finish the game and also kind of pseudo removal if you have enough creatures on board. You can kind of kill your opponent's creatures when they attack in. And the last potential upgrade is Sephara. Sephara is sort of a typical payoff in the blue-white Flyers deck without the Faerie tribal theme. It's just something to do, if you play out a bunch of early drop Flyers, you can then pump out a Sephara, and a lot of times your opponents just can't deal with it. It's just a threat that your opponents don't have a way to deal with, and it kills your opponents very, very fast. So if you wanted to, you could bring this in. Again, you might have to stray a bit from the tribal fairies sub-theme. You could just try, for example, getting rid of the Stolen by the Fae and plugging in a Sephara as well. It might be better. I just really wanted to try Stolen by the Fae as sort of an interesting experiment. But Sephara Sky's Blade, it's powerful. Being able to tap 4 fairies to put out the big 7/7 flyer with lifelink, that's just going to beat a lot of decks. Definitely worth trying, although it does sort of stray back towards the typical blue-white Flyers deck a bit, and maybe we just don't want to do that. Maybe we just want to focus in as hard as we can on these tribal synergies to get as much value out of that as possible. But it's at least an option you could look into if you felt like it. So yeah, that sums up the potential upgrades. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I enjoyed playing. Again, Faeries is one of my favorite tribes, so I had a good time this week. And yeah, so let me know if you end up playing this budget deck and if you enjoy it. And yeah, I'll see you next time.